Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who may or may not be picking a kicker to win Super Bowl MVP. Kyle, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. My basketball team just traded for Kyrie Irving, so this should be fun.
Yeah, well, that's what we got to talk about. Obviously, you are, a big Mavs guy. What do you feel? How are you feeling?
I don't really know how to feel. There's two sides to this. I feel like number one, I feel like I can't complain about saying all the time that Luka needs help. To then complain when someone who is actually like good help is available for like 50 cents on the dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if that's kind of the case, like, I don't know. I'm definitely not going to be the first one to talk themselves into Kyrie Irving because Boston and Brooklyn both did it. So I'm fully expecting this to end in a disaster, but understand why the risk was taken.
Hey, I had the same thing when the Buccaneers got Antonio Brown, and it's just like look on the bright side. Look at watch some highlights of that shot against Golden State. You talk yourself into it. You can easily talk yourself into this as a fan.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the big thing is, so he's still playing for a contract, and apparently Dallas isn't going to give him a contract extension right away, and so I don't know. Like the big thing is that it's going to be is that can this team in a Western Conference that really isn't as good as we've seen the last few years? There's no clear-cut favorite. Can this team, put it together and potentially win the West when it's that weak?
I mean, what do you think?
I still think Denver's better. Like Denver, the problem with this trade is because now we're trying to assemble a team in 5 days, and we traded our best wing defender. And now we have to basically make another trade for another defensive player to pair with Kyrie and Luka because those guys don't play that good of defense. So, if they were going to make this trade, I would have just preferred it in the offseason when he was available this summer and then, try and fill the team around that because now we have 5 days to kind of fill this team out before the deadline to make that work. And I still think Denver's better. And I think Memphis is a bunch of losers, but I think they're better too. So.
That's a bunch of losers. And even if you get out of the West, I mean, you got to deal with the, then you got to deal with Philly in the NBA Finals. So this probably isn't going to happen.
Oh yeah, big James Harden guy here.
Yeah. This is the year, Kyle.
Embiid's had some pretty bad playoff injury luck. If he can stay healthy, they got a chance. But Boston and Milwaukee are still very good.
Yeah. Is Boston back? Boston's a little back. It's a sports town.
Never left. No.
I mean, you've left a little.
Yeah, that's fair. I would think like Bruins, Celtics, I think are always going to be kind of good. And maybe the Patriots with a real offensive coordinator, make it a 3-sport town. The Red Sox, no chance.
Not thrilled about the Red Sox. I know that. But we don't, at least a little back.
Yeah. So everything's looking up and up. What could go wrong?
Yeah. Okay.
The guy who's cheering for Kyrie Irving.
Great stuff by us. First, I accidentally starting to show 5 minutes late because we had some technical issues. I don't know what happened. The whole stream. I don't know if I forgot to put it up or I thought I did. So I don't know if I forgot to hit like a button or something or what. But that's why we were a little bit late in starting the show, and also I didn't come up on the channel. So sorry about that. And then we also start the show with about 5 minutes of basketball talk. We're getting ready for the off season, Kyle.
Yeah, we are catching the viewers' attention right now, I have to say. So, let's get it rolling. We still got the Super Bowl. We got the Super Bowl coming up here, and we got to talk some MVPs. Who's going to win MVP? Who do we like to win MVP? And I was surprised. I went through the list of candidates. A lot of candidates this year. There's a lot of good players on these two teams. It's almost like these two teams win a combined, 28-6 to be here, whatever it is, 30-6 to be here. Good teams, good players.
Yeah, a ton of good players. You're right. It's not that difficult to fill out a list of 20. Sometimes it's, a little bit tougher. You're right. This is a great team, two great teams. It feels like they're the best two teams here. Kyle, the way we always do this, I like this show because I feel like it's sort of our Wednesday show. I think that's the best show we do. That is our preview show. We get into all the details about every little thing in the Super Bowl. We get really in depth. And then give our predictions. And plus, that's the final prediction of the year, which is always fun. But then I like this show. It's almost like I don't know, the starting salad of the encore of the meal for the Super Bowl, right? It's just we're
Yeah.
not giving you everything, just giving you a little taste.
Yeah, we're giving you all the fun players. We're bringing up the characters. Then Wednesday we'll develop it a little more, and then Sunday's the climax. It's like a perfectly scripted show from us. It's like we know what we're doing almost.
Almost. We at least make it seem that way. Kyle, so the way we typically do this is one person gets to pick first overall. The next person gets to pick number 2 and number 3. We will pick 20 total candidates for who could win Super Bowl MVP. We're doing it draft style. Do you want the first overall pick here? Or would you rather number 2 and number 3, and then you would continue getting the odds down the road?
Number 2 and number 3. I guess I'll take second and third.
Okay, second and third. I understand it, but honestly, Kyle, I think I might have picked number 1 if I had the choice, just because obviously quarterbacks are going to go 1 and 2. I think I want Patrick Mahomes, not necessarily because I'm saying the Chiefs are going to win. I still have not figured out who I think is going to be my pick, but I just feel like if the Chiefs do win, feels like Mahomes is probably going to be the MVP.
I would agree with that, and it's probably the big case for both quarterbacks, but even more so for Mahomes, just because the narratives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not announced he's probably going to win league MVP. You go through all of this, and it's like the perfect bow on this season is Patrick Mahomes winning Super Bowl MVP and starting his legacy case for as soon as Brady retires, Mahomes is starting to build his legacy case for his quest to become the greatest of all time, all that good stuff. So yeah, I definitely see the scenario where obviously we're Patrick Mahomes. He was my first pick. I imagine our 1 through 4 is probably the same. I felt like there was 4 really good candidates and then everything else, but Mahomes is definitely the top of that group even.
Interesting. So I'm interested in seeing where it goes. Kyle, how does Mahomes not win MVP? I mean, what's the narrative for the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl and Mahomes not winning MVP?
Well, I think it would be something like either A, he has a high turnover count and they still manage to win the game, which is
Mm-hmm.
unlikely, or B, it's a record setting performance, which, happened to Brady twice in his Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
A record setting performance from a receiver, which would probably be the case, you know. So if, because I think Deion Branch and Julian Edelman won Super Bowl MVPs the years Brady did not. And they both, I think, broke the receiving record for a Super Bowl game. So, yeah, that would be kind of the scenario where it'd have to happen that way. And guess what? He has a pretty good candidate to kind of break that record too.
Yeah. Yeah. Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
Yeah, exactly. That's who I
Mm-hmm.
have. So,
Right. I'm pretty sure that's who you're going to pick number 2. But yeah, obviously Mahomes, very good. And would mean a lot to his legacy if he does pull this off. Want us to move on to number 2 because I don't know how much we have to add for the quarterbacks.
yeah, I think that's pretty good. Number 2, let's just continue with it. Number 2 is the obvious one. It's Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts obviously has put together a very good season. He probably would have a better MVP case if he didn't get hurt late in the year and
Mm-hmm.
would have made this a more interesting race down the stretch. But it is Mahomes to lose at this point for that award. But Jalen Hurts can get him here, definitely. And he's made significant strides as a passer. He did not look very good last week, I thought, in the game against San Francisco, but still managed to score 31 because he is just dynamic running the ball. He keeps this offense moving and he runs it to perfection. So Jalen definitely has more than enough opportunities to win Super Bowl MVP, I think.
True or false? If Jalen Hurts throws for, I don't know, let's say 250 yards, with like a fine touchdown to interception ratio, fine yards per attempt, and AJ Brown gets 150 of those yards, he would have a better chance. Jalen Hurts would have a worse chance of winning MVP than if Mahomes did that and it was like, a different receiver with 150 yards.
True. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because it depends. Like, I think Kelsey could have a chance at winning it, but at the same time, like, you know, Marquez Valdes-Scantling's going to have an incredible game to take the Super Bowl MVP from Patrick
Right.
Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth. I mean,
Yeah.
he's going to have to do something unbelievable to make that a conversation. AJ Brown, I think, can just have a very, very good AJ Brown game and win Super Bowl MVP away from Jalen Hurts because he's one of those guys.
Yeah, another thing that I think could hurt potentially, no pun intended, Hurts' chance to win Super Bowl MVP. And again, that's all we're talking about here. Chances to win Super Bowl MVP would just be his legs are a big part of what he does. Part of me wonders if like that could hurt his numbers. Because I feel like this is the box score stat to some degree.
Yeah, it would be interesting if he ends up with like if he ends up with like 185 passing yards and like 75 rushing yards, like that still should matter. That's a really good game.
Uh-huh.
So like that would be something that I think could be I could see that as a scenario if they win like, you know, 24-17 game, he has a couple touchdowns and, 250 total yards sort of thing.
Yeah, and again, if he can pull out the Super Bowl MVP, he's in the prestigious Joe Flacco conversation. What everyone's
He's
trying
got
to get
that.
to.
Yeah, everyone wants to be Joe Flacco. I mean, who doesn't?
Right. Yeah. No, but you're right. It's obviously quarterbacks have to go 1 and 2. Let's move on. Let's give you number 3 because I think we'll have more to talk about once we get to the non-quarterbacks. Number 3, several ways you could go with this. You said our 1 through 4 will probably be the same guys. I think I agree, but I think number 3 or number 4 is where things get interesting. Who is your number 3 pick here?
I do think it's kind of interchangeable, but I am going to go with AJ Brown. We kind of alluded to it because I do
Hmm.
think it's more likely AJ Brown would take the Super Bowl MVP away from Jalen Hurts than it would be Travis Kelce takes the Super Bowl MVP away from Patrick Mahomes. So I feel like the only reason you should have Patrick or Travis Kelce 3 if you're that confident you think the Chiefs are going to win this game. So I
Hmm.
still think this game's kind of a toss up. I really haven't, I don't have to pick for Wednesday's show, but I still haven't really decided what my prediction would be at this point. And I do think that there's more likely a chance that AJ Brown would take it from Jalen. And I think AJ Brown is one of the most talented receivers in football, and he's an incredible outside receiver, which is something that could give Kansas City a lot of issues in this game. So give me AJ Brown for this one.
Yeah, not a bad pick at all. Obviously, AJ Brown could see him winning it as well. Here's my question of AJ Brown. Again, I'm just going to nitpick every single one of your choices because that's what I do. Could you? I think there's a very real chance the Chiefs don't let AJ Brown beat them. That's could be part of their strategy. Is playing a lot of two safety deep coverages, which means that it might be harder for AJ Brown to get those one-on-one opportunities on the outside.
Yeah, I mean that's possible. But I think a lot of teams have tried to stop AJ Brown this year and haven't succeeded. So,
Sure.
and I think a big thing with AJ Brown too, like, is I kind of said it last week when it came to T. Higgins and L'Jarius Sneed got hurt right away. And I mean, if L'Jarius Sneed isn't able to go in this game, and he's still not a concussion protocol, so we don't know yet. If he's not able to go in this game, he's got a massive size advantage over everybody on Kansas City.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like he could have a field day against those corners if Sneed's not out there.
Yeah, no, again, totally agree. But it's also in that weird thing where you brought up like the Julian Edelman MVP. Part of that too was like Brady's stats weren't great in that one. So
Yeah.
there's almost, but maybe that helps with what we were talking about with Jalen Hurts. Maybe Hurts is kind of rushing ability paired with the AJ Brown of rushing ability paired with his passing ability. Maybe it'll be 185 yards and AJ Brown will have 100 of them, and that'll give him the nod.
Well, the thing is like Jalen Hurts is not a stats guy
Right.
or really even a highlights guy. Jalen
Hmm.
Hurts is kind of like a EPA third down conversion yards per play guy.
Uh
That's where you
huh.
get excited about Jalen Hurts.
Right.
And that's not necessarily that's not necessarily in everybody's minds when they're trying to vote on a Super Bowl MVP quickly. So
Hmm.
I could understand the argument for that. Yeah, because I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a stats guy and highlights guy, so that's what's going to stick out. That's not necessarily where Jalen Hurts shines.
Yeah, and you're kind of getting all your bases covered here too, where it seems very likely that. And again, this is part of the fun of this show. Is like there's really like 6 guys that have like greater than like 2% chance of winning, but we still pick 20. Of like it seems like
Yeah.
what are the odds that if the Eagles win, AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts will be MVP? Is it like 90%?
Yeah, it would have to be like something crazy, like Hassan Reddick has 6 sacks or something like that, or something.
Right.
It
Mhm.
would take something crazy from a defense or special teams player, I think.
Yeah, I think it's possible, but yeah, it seems like those two are the guys. So I'm interested in seeing if this is actually your number 4th that you were talking about, because I guess there's the 5th person I can think about. But my number 4, my pick here, I'm going Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones has a good chance of winning Super Bowl MVP because if this turns into a defensive game, because here's my thought, because I could go Chris Jones, I could go Travis Kelce. My point for Chris Jones is it feels like if Travis Kelce has a big day, Mahomes is also having a big day and he's getting the MVP. If both offenses struggle a little bit, I could see Chris Jones maybe being the guy who, if he gets a couple of sacks, he could get it. Now, again, it's tough because is he going to get sacks against this good offensive line? Seems unlikely. But if they're up, there's a very real chance that Jalen Hurts holds on to the ball for a little bit longer than he should, and they get sacks that way. So Chris Jones is my pick.
I get it. Like Jones could definitely win the award. And he is the star level player that would kind of bring the attention to the award. My thing
Mhm.
is like, so like I was thinking about that game last week. Like Chris Jones was phenomenal in that Cincinnati game. I don't think anyone was thinking about him as the AFC Championship game MVP off of that. Not
Well,
that
he
there
probably
was an
should have
award
been.
for. Well, I thought Mahomes was really good in that game too, and like so, like, I don't know what would it would basically take that game and then some for Chris Jones to win Super Bowl MVP, right?
Well, or it would take Mahomes not playing as well and not having the performance that he had last game, right? It would take.
Yeah.
I don't think it's crazy to think this could be a defensive struggle in this one as well.
Uh, yeah. No, I agree. So, yeah, I mean, it would certainly be interesting. I definitely think he can win the award, and he was my fifth pick. He's my number one defensive player. So I completely understand where you're coming from there. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And yeah, if it's a low scoring game, Mahomes makes a few mistakes. Chris Jones comes up big and gets multiple stops for this team. I definitely see him winning this one,
Here's
having
my
a
other
chance to
thought.
win it. Okay.
Do we know who's? I should notice who's calling the game, the Super Bowl.
I think it's Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You know Greg Olson at some point during the show is going to point out Chris Jones, say, okay, this Chris Jones guy, if he makes a play early on, they're not just going to say, okay, good defensive play, and then go back to talking about something else. They're going to give him a moment there. So that'll play in your mind if you're watching the game.
Unfortunately, it's not Collinsworth. Could we just go, oh, how about this guy, Chris Jones?
Well, then Mahomes would be a lock for winning it. We wouldn't even have to do the show.
This guy is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's got to have his name involved in like one play per possession, right? Like that would be kind of the case.
Well, I
Or
don't know
has
about
like a
that, but he
big
has to
defensive
have,
touchdown.
I mean, that would be quite the game. But like, I think he needs at least a sack here and probably multiple sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And a not great Mahomes day.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. All right, Kyle, number 5.
all right, rolling right along. I'll take my number 4 pick, which is Travis Kelce, because I mean, look, the Super Bowl record for receptions is 14 catches. I don't think it's unbelievable to say Travis Kelce could have a 15 catch game in this one,
Sure.
which seems crazy. That seems like a lot, but this Kansas City team, it's not as much of a big play team as it used to be in the past, and it's a big third down conversion team. And the Philadelphia Eagles play a very deep coverage defense that want to give you short yard completions. Travis Kelce could absolutely have he could definitely have 15 catches with like 9 of them for first downs or something crazy like that, right? Like that definitely seems like something that's in the realm of possibility. And if a couple of those are touchdowns too, even better. So I think that he definitely has an opportunity to win this one. And I think that, if the Eagles go into their same defensive coverages that they normally run, he's going to have a lot of space, and there's not a lot of time to throw with this defensive line, and they're going to be looking at Kelce and spamming Kelce basically this entire game.
Yeah, yeah, I think this is a good pick as well. This is definitely number 5 on my list as well because I could see it, and it was interesting. You said, could he get 15 receptions would break the record, 14 would tie. So I'm like, okay, when's the last time he's gotten like 14 receptions? Has he ever done that before? 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville, he got 14 receptions. So yeah, it's definitely possible that he could pull something like that off.
Yeah, so that would be basically his path to Super Bowl MVP, and I think it's a pretty clear path. Go break the receiving receptions record for a single Super Bowl game. Go win it that way. Go get a couple touchdowns off of that too. Chiefs win. Kelce gets it for that.
Yeah. Do you think that the Mahomes haters would be out in full force if Travis Kelce won MVP over Mahomes?
At least he's already won a Super Bowl MVP. Like it's hard to it's not like the whole Steph Curry has never won a Finals MVP, man.
Right.
Which is still the all-time worst take because Andre Iguodala won Super Bowl or NBA Finals MVP for holding LeBron to like 35 points a game or something ridiculous like that. Like, good job, Iguodala. Super Bowl MVP, NBA Finals MVP, ridiculous. Anyway, getting off topic here.
What we do here, Kyle?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's a I think it's a there's definitely going to be some people that bring it up. I think it's stupid, but people will bring it up for sure.
Yeah, sure. So I have a chat saying if Travis Kelce gets 15 catches, I'll eat my hat. He's the only receiver that poses a threat to this D. They will stop him. How many times have we heard that before?
More than we said, oh, teams are going to try and double AJ Brown, you know?
Right. Yeah. It just, I get it. They're going to put an effort on him. And the Eagles do have guys at the linebacker position who can play. Like TJ Edwards and Kaiser White are both good linebackers, but like you're not good enough to stop Travis Kelce.
Yeah, it's it's funny to, because I was thinking about it the other day and like thinking about that Jacksonville game too, where they're sitting in that zone coverage and it's like, well, why don't you just put two people on Kelsey? Why don't you just guard Kelsey? Why is he always open?
Mhm.
Obviously, the guy's good at what he does for a living.
Right.
If he's always going to be, I'm sure the defensive plan was not to say, yeah, Travis Kelsey's over there. Maybe you cover him,
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and it's also tough too. It's like, what are you supposed to just like not play a coverage and like just completely change your game plan entirely? Maybe that's what you do, but it's like you have certain plays that you're used to playing. Like, are you just going to throw all of those out when Travis Kelce comes to town, or are you going to call those plays and then say, hey, just make sure you keep an eye on 87, and then Andy Reid and Travis Kelce find ways to get them to forget that.
Yeah, and he's not, a lot of these times it doesn't seem like he's actually running set routes.
Hmm.
He's breaking everything off as he sees fit. And there's that,
Right.
that chemistry between him and Mahomes that makes it easier. So, I mean, like this Eagles defense is really good too. So if they're able to slow down Travis Kelce, I'm also not surprised. But I also see a situation where it's a Super Bowl, it's a winner take all game. They're going to say, okay, this is our bread and butter. Kelsey's going to get open on these plays. Let's get it to the ball 15, 16 times in this one.
Yeah, he's going to get the targets either way.
Yeah. So we'll see how it happens. But yeah, that's the fifth pick. Move on to number 6.
Number 6, I'm in between two different guys right now, but you know what? I think I'm going to go with the same logic that I went with last time. Of I want to get some defensive players because if it is a defensive struggle, I think the defensive players could matter here. Give me a Hassan Reddick, number 6, and here's my logic. A, he's been the sack guy for them all year. You could argue if he's the best defensive edge rusher for them, and that's saying something because of how good he is. But you also have Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat there as well. They're all fantastic. But he's the guy who gets the sacks. The sacks are what people pay attention to. And Kyle, I had this thought, and this is a little bit of, we're going to get into more detail about it on Wednesday when we do our full preview show, which will be at 9 o'clock as well, unless we have more technical difficulties, but should be around 9 o'clock. So if Hassan Reddick he usually doesn't play against left tackles, usually plays against right tackles, which either way should be an advantage for him. But I was wondering if he's against Orlando Brown Jr., kind of the one knock on Orlando Brown Jr. is speed. Hassan Reddick, one of the faster, one of the more explosive edge rushers in the league. That feels like a mismatch. I think either way, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he gets some pressure. Now, can you bring down Mahomes is another question, but feels like he's a guy to at least get his name called a decent amount in this one.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you're saying, and it's going to be interesting to see where they deploy him and all that. And I mean, obviously, there's so much to deal with this Philadelphia defensive line and how you match up with it. And I mean, he's reaped the rewards, and he's also an incredible pass rusher. It's not like this is a
Right.
one-off thing. He's a very good pass rusher too, so that helps. And he's kind of been the signing of the offseason. And yeah, I mean, I if it comes to him winning one-on-one battles against Orlando Brown or Andrew Wiley, I think
Mm-hmm.
he's going to win either way. So I don't really know. I think you could deploy him on either side and be fine. The big thing is just going to be getting to Mahomes and tackling Mahomes, which is always the problem.
Well, right, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, think about how at times all over the Cincinnati Bengals edge rushers were Mahomes, and it still didn't do much because he was still able to get rid of the football. It's difficult. It's difficult to get the sacks, and you also have to be wary of making sure you don't hit him in the wrong way to get a penalty. So that obviously factors in. But again, 6th pick in here feels like a guy who has a chance.
I definitely think he has a chance, and he's been the big. If we're starting to kind of pick apart our guys and try and you got to look for the big play guys on all these teams, and he has
Mhm.
certainly been the big play guy for this Philadelphia defense.
Right. Yeah. And as Mark in the chat brings up, he's a forced fumble machine as well. So it's not just sacks, but he can get the ball out. Which again, that would definitely. I mean, that's kind of how Von Miller got his MVP, right? It wasn't just he was able to have a fumble recovery and a forced fumble in that game.
Yeah, yeah. So it would take something a lot like that, and maybe a defensive touchdown too. So I definitely think there can be there's definitely going to be a situation like that he's going to have opportunities.
All right, Kyle. Number 7. Who you got?
All right. I talked about the argument for Travis Kelce and Kelce potentially breaking records. This could be another one that's be an interesting record broken. And I think he's really important for the defense too. So we're going defense again here. We're going to Kansas City. And I think when you look at this team and what Philadelphia likes to do, this read option is incredibly difficult to defend. And a lot of that's going to come onto their number one guy in that middle of the defense. That's Nick Bolton. And I think Nick Bolton, you're looking at this. He's been fantastic this playoffs, I thought. He was really good in that Cincinnati game. And, record for most tackles in a Super Bowl is 12. I don't think it's crazy that Nick Bolton can get a dozen tackles in this game, especially with Philadelphia's offense and what they like to do.
Feels like it'd be a bit tough.
Yeah. I'm not discounting the possibility of it. I definitely think it's a possibility.
Sure, it's possible. I think the Travis Kelce thing has a bit more legs, but I get what you're saying. Right, a record would be a way that you can get a Super Bowl MVP. I don't know, Kyle. I'll be honest here. Feels like a bit of a reach.
Bit of a reach. I probably could have gone offensive, but wanted to lock up my guy here. I think he can have a big game in this one, and I think it's going to be really important to stopping the Eagles' offense. So it's going to be interesting. And that's the other thing too. Like this Eagles' defense is also a lot better. And so, like I was thinking about a bunch of their guys in the secondary I really like, but they all kind of take away from each other a little bit, right? Like, unless somebody gets like 2 or 3 picks, all of these guys in the secondary for Philadelphia are awesome. A lot of these guys on the defensive line for Philadelphia are awesome. If I'm going for defense, I'm probably going for one of the stars on Kansas City to win it over a lot of the Philadelphia defense players.
Yeah, I can see it. I think here's one thing that's going to hurt Nick Bolton. I like Nick Bolton a lot as a player. I think he's really good. And I think that, like, if Nick Bolton was better known, I think this might be a better pick. I just think how many people, if there's 100 million people that watch this game, how many of those people do you think know who Nick Bolton is prior to the game?
Probably about maybe 15% of the people.
Yeah, that's what he has worked. And again, it's not fair. That's how it works, but that's how it works.
But we've seen it happen before. He would have to have like a Derek Brooks kind of game, pick 6, just clearly the best defensive player on the field.
Yeah, but Derek Brooks didn't win MVP that year.
Did he?
No, it was. I'm trying to remember now how I always get it confused. Which one was which? But it was. They had a player who had 2 pick sixes in the game who didn't win MVP because there's another player who had 2 interceptions, but that was prior to the second. They did the voting with like 5 minutes left. And so then they had another player get a second pick 6, but it didn't matter because the voting was already over.
Huh. Well, fooled me. There you go. But he could have that sort of moment. We'll see.
Sure. Maybe that, and maybe if they're, that he would need that, though, right? He would probably need like a pick 6.
Yeah.
Or like a fumble return touchdown.
I mean, I think all of these defensive guys, even if someone as good as Chris Jones, probably needs a defensive touchdown or a safety or something like that, right? Like it can't just be like a 3-sack day.
I think 3 sacks could get you if in the right situation.
If it's like a 14-10 game, maybe
you need at least 3 sacks. That's the minimum without a turnover, or maybe like 2 sacks and a turnover, or you need like a defensive touchdown. Like that's what you need.
You will all be laughing when Nick Bolton wins Super Bowl MVP. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, listen, Kyle, you've had some odd takes that have turned out to be true in the past. Maybe this will be one of them. I don't know. Nick Bolton at 7 feels a bit surprising. Let's go to number 8. To me, I feel very good about getting number 8 here because I almost drafted him at number 6. Give me Devonta Smith. This feels like a no-brainer of A.J. Brown going to get a lot of double teams. Devonta Smith could come through. He could be the guy that they target a lot. We've seen him have some big days where he's had the stat line. And like we said, everything about A.J. Brown we can say about Smith as well. Of Hurts might not, there's a chance that someone steals the MVP from Hurts if it's a 185-yard passing performance and Smith has 100 of those yards.
And the referees don't even know if he can catch the ball or not. So,
right.
Just a joke. We're moving on from referee talk. That was the last one. But look, he would be he's definitely going to be, I would pick him before it. I agree with you. I would pick him probably before any of the other Kansas City offensive skill guys, right? Like, it just feels, he's the next best player, and he could definitely have a big game in this one. So, yeah, I definitely think that makes sense.
Yeah. The other aspect, like we said, name brand recognition matters in this. He has the name brand recognition, so you definitely have to, have to factor that in. And again, the scheme part makes sense. And he's also another guy where it's like you can see him making an incredible athletic catch too, right? You could see him having one of those, I don't know, Heinz Ward type MVP wins as well. It was Heinz, who
Uh,
was it? The Steelers guy. Was it Heinz
Heinz,
Ward?
Heinz Ward, Antoine Randall, which one was it?
I believe it was Heinz Ward who had to catch. Someone correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, that sounds right. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I mean, it would. It's definitely a possibility. I agree. So, can you name the guys who have won a Heisman Trophy and a Super Bowl MVP?
Ooh, okay. This is tough. Baker Mayfield.
No, he did not win one.
Okay, did not quite win a Super Bowl. Okay. Okay. Heisman Trophy and Joe Burrow had a chance, right? I feel like this is gonna. I'm gonna waste too much time and not get to the answer. So maybe you should just tell me.
All right. Super Bowl MVP is Roger Staubach. This says Jim Plunkett. It just says Allen. I'm assuming I don't know which Allen that is, and Desmond Howard.
Okay.
I looked this up really fast, so I don't know.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But that's a pretty good
So,
list of company to be with if you're
why would you ask
Devontae
me to
Smith.
guess that? Did you really think I was gonna guess one of those? Do you think I was
I
gonna
don't
say, "Oh,
know.
Allen"?
Well, I know Woodson was kind of the big one.
I guess so. I don't know. It was a tough one, Kyle. Set me up for
Or Desmond
failure.
Howard, I meant. That's what I meant. I mean, I don't know. There's a few guys there.
Okay. Well, again, I'm not a college guy. I don't know. I'm not sure if I could name 10 Heisman Trophy winners.
You can't name 10?
I could probably name 10.
Mark
Tim
Ingram,
Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
Mm-hmm.
Who
Yeah.
else you got?
Well, now we're gonna. So Joe Burrow. We have let's see, Jameis Winston, of course.
Jameis
Can't
Winston.
can't forget about Jameis. Manti Te'o. He won it, right?
Did not win a Heisman Trophy.
Wow, what?
I gave you one, Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess the guy who's on the screen right now.
Yeah. So there's a few guys.
Listen, I'm on the
Derrick
spot.
Henry.
All right. Derrick Henry. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. See,
Um,
learn something new every day.
there you go. It's all good. You're not a college guy. It's fine.
Yeah, not a college guy. All right, and I don't, and not a huge awards guy either. So this is tough on both fronts.
Yeah. Fair enough. So we can move on now. This guy.
Yeah, sure. Number 9, Kyle. Who you going with? Are you going to go with Willie Gay?
He's on my list, but I'm not taking him here.
Okay.
Give me Miles Sanders here. Miles Sanders
Mm-hmm.
could have a huge game. They love to run the ball. They love to pound the rock. Miles Sanders. Couldn't you just see 120 yards, 3 touchdowns for Miles Sanders? They're putting all their attention on stopping Jalen Hurts in the run game. Miles Sanders goes nuts. There you go. Give me Miles Sanders here at number 9.
This is a great pick, Kyle. You nailed this one. This is definitely something I could see happening. The only maybe slight concern I have is every now and then they will go running back by committee a bit. They don't just go with Sanders, but he is the guy who gets the most carries. So especially in the playoffs, it seems like that's the case. I suspect he'll get the carries here. I like this pick a lot, and I again, you need someone who can rack up stats. There feels like there's a chance that he could have like a 3 touchdown day.
Yeah, without a doubt, because they do love to run the ball that much. And like I said, if the attention's on stopping Jalen Hurts, he's going to have opportunities. And he's a good running back, too. I think,
Right.
He is a very good running back, and he's found the perfect system. Remember when Nick
Perfect
Sirianni,
system. The guy with the team with Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Isaac Semello, and Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, that helps, too. Remember
Yeah.
when Nick Sirianni first started and they were, like, inexplicably not running the ball? And
Right.
it took like 8 games last year for them to say, let's just run the ball with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. Miles
Mhm.
Sanders has completely took off since that point up until now.
Yeah, it seems like that's worked out for them.
Good strategy.
Yeah, I think so. No, I like Miles Sanders a lot. I think that you're right. I think I agree with everything you said. I guess, again, trying to poke holes in these things is the one concern, are people going to give him the credit, or are people going to give just the running game in general the credit?
I mean, they're probably going to give the running game in general the credit, even if he does win it. But like at the same time, like Jason Kelsey's not winning Super Bowl MVP. So if
Right.
if the offensive line's awesome, it's probably going to go to, Miles Sanders.
Should they just allow the Super Bowl MVP to just go to the offensive line? like as one unit, like because they're never going to win individually, but at least that would give them a chance.
Well, maybe the Kansas City offensive line a couple years ago against Tampa could have won it then.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, Tampa Super Bowl MVP, Kansas City's offensive line.
Oh my God, all those injured tackles, including Andrew Wiley, who's still starting for them.
Yeah, who would start that guy again?
Yeah, who could win a Super Bowl with Andrew Wiley as a starting tackle?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, no, yeah, Miles Sanders, good pick. Want to move on?
Yeah, keep it moving.
All right. Going off of Miles Sanders here. You know what? Let's go here. I have a couple of names here. It's really all over the place at this point. I feel like there's several. I don't feel like there's like a clear. You can pretty much pick any of my remaining 11 players, and it would be fine. Give me Brandon Graham. Someone who we've seen. Unfortunately for you, Kyle, come up big in a big moment before. Someone who can get a turnover if necessary. Someone who can get pressure if necessary. If he's going up against Andrew Wiley a lot, that could be a good situation. Will he tackle Mahomes? Again, that's the question, but feels like getting some of these Eagles edge rushers is a safe bet.
Yeah, I definitely see a scenario. The one thing for me is, once again, like, predicting defensive players is hard because you got to pick the guy who has the big plays. Like, because there's so many guys that I feel like could counteract each other on this Philadelphia defensive line. Like, Josh Sweat might be the best defensive lineman on the team. Fletcher Cox has the tenure, all that kind of stuff. Brandon Graham becomes tough to fit in all those, in all those faces.
Yeah, but I think he has more name brand. Again, I think he's more well known than Josh Sweat is. Again, it kind of the same Josh Sweat, same thing with Nick Bolton, where it's a good player, but like how much does like the national coverage know about him? I get what you're saying though. Like there is a very real chance that he gets the third most snaps at the edge rusher position in this one.
Yeah. So it all kind of depends on the matchups. If he's able to win this matchup a few times, come up with the huge splash plays, it's definitely the possibility. I see it. It's kind of the same for all these other defensive linemen. But I do get it. He's, like you said, he's come up big in a Super Bowl before. So, maybe it happens again, and then they put that spotlight on him. They're showing, multiple highlights of him coming up with big plays against the Patriots. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Brandon Graham, Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, again, any of these edge rushers you could go with for the Eagles. Maybe not Robert Quinn.
Yeah, probably not him. You could skip that.
Remember when that trade happened and the Eagles fans were all like excited about it, and it was like the narrative. Not even Eagles fans. I mean, get excited about a trade if it's your team, whatever. But like it was, everyone was like, "Oh man, what a move by the Eagles! What a steal! What were the Bears thinking?"
That tends to happen. We overreact to every trade. Remember when we were excited for Chase Claypool to play for the Bears? Did he even have a catch this year? Like,
I don't think we were that excited for that one.
I don't know. I think people were excited. Justin Fields finally has help.
Yeah, well, it felt like, hey, at least they're doing something for Fields finally, and then didn't work out so well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Number 11, Kyle. Where are you going?
I'm taking a risk here. I'm taking a risk. I don't even know if this guy's going to play. He's still questionable.
Okay.
But if there's one big player for this Kansas City offense that we don't talk about enough, it is the trade deadline acquisition we're all excited for. It is your number one receiver. It is our number one receiver. It is Kadarius Toney coming in off the street to join Kansas City's offense. He is going to have 4 catches, 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Win Super Bowl MVP in a 17-13 game. Kadarius Toney. Here we go.
Please let this happen. I'd be so happy this happened. This would make the memes. Kyle, I would never live this down. It is, yeah. Okay, a bit of a risk here. He was not on my list, which is saying something given how much I love Kadarius Toney. Yeah, bit of a risk going with maybe the Chiefs' 5th best wide receiver who also might not play.
Who also might not play is the key part. But if he plays, he is a dangerous player.
Sure,
I will say that. So
I could actually, unironically, I could see him in this game, like actually making plays if he is there. Like I could see that happening.
Yeah, I mean he is. No one's ever denied Kadarius Toney's talent. It's been availability, and
right.
It's been availability even in Kansas City, which is the problem. So you know, if he's able to play, I do think he can make an impact. He could. Even it could be a big play in the receiving game. It could be multiple big plays in the receiving game. It could be in the run game. It could be in special teams. There's a lot of opportunities for Toney if he's able to play to get the ball in his hands and make something happen.
Well, that's a good point as well, right? Like, what if he got like we talk about how they love records. What if he managed to get like a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and like a special teams touchdown? He very good chance he would win it in that case.
Yeah, he would definitely win it in that case. That'd be
Hmm.
crazy. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's it's an outside chance, but all of these people at this point are outside chances. So let me take the highest risk here, potentially the highest reward, Kadarius Toney.
Kyle, if Kadarius Toney wins Super Bowl MVP, is it official to say that he is better than Jamar Chase? Chase never won Super Bowl MVP.
Chase has not won Super Bowl MVP. That's true. So I guess it has to be a discussion then, right?
Yeah, I think so. Probably not.
No, I think you're right.
No, I think okay. Kadarius Toney is the person. What we're saying has the 11th highest odds of winning Super Bowl MVP. Number 12. I'm going to go Dallas Goedert here.
Yeah.
Let's go with the guy who, again, similar to. I feel very good about. I didn't get AJ Brown, but now I get Dallas Goedert, and I get Devonta Smith. Feels like same thing about Devonta Smith. I feel about with Goddard here. He's just someone who, if the attention is going on those two great receivers, he is their third option. He is the guy who can work over the middle. Now, again, not so easy to work over the middle, so that's kind of the issue there. But, want to get another receiving option. Feels like we know he's going to at least get a decent amount of targets, so I'll pick him at number 12.
Yeah, I do think he is going to be impactful for this game. He's a good player. He's a really good tight end. The one thing is, we've talked about it a few times, is the name brand is, he's not the most interesting guy, I think, in the world. I don't even know if I heard Dallas Goedert talk. And I watch football a
Yeah.
lot. Like, I don't know. So that would be a tough one, I think, to convince. Like, if he has a big game over the other two guys, it's going to be like, oh, Jalen Hurts is Super Bowl MVP then, right?
Yeah, we talk about name brand recognition. Kyle, let's say, I don't know, you're at a gas station, and all of a sudden a police officer runs up to you and says, "I recognize you from the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I listen, twice a week. Great show." And then you say thank you, and then he says, "Here's the thing: there's a criminal on the loose, and the description was he looks exactly like Dallas Goedert. We don't know what that looks like. We don't watch football. We just listen to a lot of podcasts. Can you please draw a picture of what Dallas Goedert looks like? How accurate do you think you would get?"
Not very accurate, I would say. That would be very tough.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that situation doesn't happen for several reasons.
Yeah. So yeah, crime sucks. So let's hope there's no crime.
Yeah. We are an anti-crime podcast here.
Yeah. So as most should be.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I do think,
I was gonna say, here's the one thing I can think of with Dallas Goedert. Here's the one thing I have to say. He had one of the greatest draft introductions of all time. Who was it? The Eagles kicker who was in Dallas during the draft. The draft was in Dallas, and then he drafted Dallas Goedert after trolling the Cowboys for like 5 minutes. I think that could help.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess so. It would certainly, I don't know. Like, what is the stat line for Dallas Goedert to have to win Super Bowl MVP?
Oh, I think he'd need like at least 50 yards.
At least 50?
Yeah, I think
couple
so.
Touchdowns? Yeah.
Well, no, he would need. I mean, he would need to have a very good day. He would need touchdowns would be the key. Probably, I mean, he might be one of those guys where he would need to have like a key play. Like a key fourth down touchdown.
That's fair. So yeah, I think it's it's a fair pick. He was next on my list too. It is just interesting. Like, it's tough to, not a lot of people are going to be sold on Dallas Goedert. That's it.
No, that's totally reasonable. Kyle, number 13. Where are you going?
All right, you want name brand? I'll give you name brand. It's TikTok's favorite NFL football player. It is Juju Smith-Schuster of the Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, he's going to have some fun dances. He's going to steal the attention, and if he gets a couple touchdowns, he's going to win Super Bowl MVP. So give me Juju here.
Interesting. Are you? I don't know. Are you worried that he's not good enough to win Super Bowl MVP?
Yes.
There's that one little hiccup there.
Yeah, that would be a bit of a problem. But he's had some big games this year. I think he's been pretty good. Like, better than
he's
my
fine. He's not a bad receiver or anything, but I just don't know. Like, what's the pathway?
He basically takes Marquez Valdez-Scantling game for the other day and does it himself, but also scores a couple touchdowns. That's basically it. right?
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the way. I just think about it like, what? He hasn't had 100 yards in a game since October.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not disturbed.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's keep it going because it's kind of in the same thing. Give me MVS here at 14. I feel like why not
Yeah.
pick MVS over why Kadarius Toney and Juju Smith-Schuster over MVS, the guy who we just saw have the kind of day that could give you a chance to win Super Bowl MVP in the right situation.
Listen, I gotta choose the popular guys. There's better narratives, better stories if Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney have big games. So,
Okay,
but
hear
Marquez
me out.
Valdez-Scantling is better.
Hear me out. You talk about narratives. There's few things voters for the NFL love more than hating Aaron Rodgers, right? One of the things one of the greatest pastimes, MVS winning Super Bowl MVP after leaving Aaron Rodgers, that would be a good, if Rodgers haters would have fun with it, and we know Rodgers haters are voting for Super Bowl MVP.
There'd be a whole Pat McAfee show put towards it too. It'd
Yeah.
be interesting. It'd be fantastic content. I'm with you. I might have to change mine around. You're right.
His name is MVS. It's only one letter away from MVP. The signs are right there, Kyle.
It's right there. It's sitting there. I blew it. I picked Juju. I got too interested in TikTok.
Yeah. Well, we know you're a big TikTok guy.
I am not, but I did download it finally.
Okay. How are you enjoying it?
I don't really know. Like, I feel like I'm just watching the same video over and over again. Like,
Yeah, I downloaded it once and watched it for about like 20 minutes. And I don't need this. I'm good.
yeah, I think it's it's, I don't know. Like, are we really that short attention span that we need 5-second videos to entertain us? Like,
Right.
are we this bad? Like, someone pick up a book. Gosh darn it! Come on now. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be the old man saying we need to read more.
Yeah, we're getting as boomer as we've ever been on this podcast, Kyle. First, we had technical issues to start the show. Now we're telling people to put down their TikToks and start reading.
Yeah, although we should read more as a society.
Yeah, hey everyone, start a book.
The On the Sideline Podcast Book Club. We are going to start with let's see, what do I got over here?
Ooh.
Uh
Let's do something short, something that we can do.
Something we can do. All right, we will read Beowulf. How about Beowulf?
Okay, perfect. Everyone,
beautiful.
By Wednesday, hopefully we will all have read Beowulf.
Yeah, beautiful hero's journey. Make it happen.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Kyle, number 15.
All right. Number
15 is Beowulf, actually. No, Kyle, who do you have?
All right. We want big play magnets. Well, this is a big play magnet. Philadelphia defense. We're going back to the defensive side of the ball. Give me C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Okay.
He's an absolute stud in the secondary. He's going to have multiple picks in this game. He's going to run for a touchdown. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson takes home Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I like how you're just going with this isn't what you think is this isn't like what could happen. This is going to happen. You say I forgot to put you saved the 15th pick for the guy who you're convinced is going to win Super Bowl MVP. Okay. Listen, I don't know. I can see it. I can see especially if the Chiefs get down, does Mahomes take some chances in this game perhaps? Does he try to push the ball down the field when he shouldn't? Probably not, but there's the chance.
Yeah. There's a chance, and he's kind of an instinctual player, and if he's able to jump if he's able to jump a Travis Kelce route, he could take it to the house, definitely. So he has that ability, and it'll be interesting to see how they kind of match up this defense with Kansas City's offense.
Again, a bit interesting though. Just again, have to call out the strategy of you're going with not their best, or you're certainly not going with their best secondary player, right? You still have James Bradbury and Darius Slay, who you would certainly say are better, but it's more so just the position is what concerns you.
Yeah, and I mean he is also a really good safety, like But the thing is like this iteration of Kansas City has not been known for attacking outside corners like they did before with Tyreek Hill. I think there's going to be more opportunity for C.J. Gardner-Johnson to make plays over Slay, and I kind of envision like if Slay and Bradbury have a good game, they're not really going to be heard from in this one. That's just kind of how I see it.
Yeah, and it really comes down to it, but I don't know. Like the thing, I think here's what makes this tough is you need turnovers from him. But like again, 15 picks in, maybe not the worst idea.
Yeah. I mean, banking on something crazy happening at this point.
Right. Yeah. Which it feels like you've been doing for a few picks now.
Yeah. Hey, I got a narrative to push. Every one of these, I've laid out a perfectly good example of how they win Super Bowl MVP.
Listen, the way you say it, you talked me into it. Again, you're doing a great sales pitch here, Kyle.
I'm trying my best. So.
Yeah. All right. Number 16. Give me Isaiah Pacheco. Give me a guy who's going to get touches. Again, it might seem like what's the odds of a running back getting MVP? I remember there was some real buzz during, I believe, was it Darrell Williams or Darius Williams? I forget. One of the Williams they had like the two Williams that were both like they had a one letter off of the first name, but one of them, Damian Williams, I think is who it was, who had, there was some buzz about him winning MVP and Mahomes' Super Bowl win that he's had prior to this. So it's possible. I'm not banking on it, but there is a way where if he can break off a couple runs, get an 100-yard, two touchdown performance, that he could get the MVP here.
Without a doubt. And he's their kick returner. So,
there you go.
You can get you can have a big kick return in this game too. That also pushes him over the edge. So, there is definitely a pathway for him to doing it. The tough thing is, can a running back win it in the Chiefs offense?
Maybe. I mean, again, maybe it'll have to be some receiving yards added on to it. You're right. It seems unlikely, but there's precedent before.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, should we continue? Because my next guy is also a Chiefs running back. Do you want to put
Sure, go ahead.
Because my guy is Jerick McKinnon, who I think is going to be more involved in the passing game than Isaiah Pacheco. And if if we're going to have a James White, Damian Williams like performance, I think there's probably two guys on the teams that are most likely to do it, and I think he's more likely than the other guy for Philadelphia. So I'm going to go ahead and take McKinnon here at that point and just say, if there's going to be that sort of big passing game for a running back where they're just involved, it's a it's a McKinnon-like game.
But here's the thing, though. When you bring up like James White didn't win Super Bowl MVP, right? It's just like that's the issue with that.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, I mean,
granted, neither did Damian Williams, but
yeah, if we're gonna have that game that creates the conversation, the debate, I just think McKinnon would be the most likely to do it.
My thing is the reason why I disagree and why I feel like Pacheco has the higher odds is, if we're just talking about those two, is I think that if Mahomes is getting yards with Jerick McKinnon passing, then Mahomes is getting yards. I think then that's working out for Mahomes. Whereas if he's getting yards, if Pacheco's getting yards, those aren't going on Mahomes' box score.
Yeah. I definitely get it. So I definitely think it's going to be harder. But, maybe he's just awesome in this game and it's too big to overcome. I don't know. We're at pick 17. I'm trying to work with something here.
Sure. And listen, I understand it. I get it. You got to figure out some way. But Kyle, this is the fun, is we get to nitpick this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's never going to be perfect.
No. But I think we've gotten perfect so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is the perfect list.
Yeah, I think so as well.
We will have one of the Super Bowl MVPs will be from this list. Guaranteed.
Yeah, every year we've had one of the Super Bowl MVPs selected. We have not missed one yet.
How are we so good at this?
It's incredible. We nail it every year. I think we have to say the one year we miss it, that's just when the On the Sideline podcast ends, right?
Yeah, if we can't get one Super Bowl MVP out of 20, yeah, that would be tough.
Yeah, I think then we just are done with it. Number 18. I'll just go with let's just finish it off. Why don't we? I'm gonna go with Josh Sweat. Give me all of the Eagles edge rushers. Same reasons of Brandon Graham and Hassan Reddick. Again, the name brand is a little bit tough here. How much do people realize how good he is? But if he can get a fumble recovery touchdown here and then maybe a sack or two, that could be enough.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Could he get a defensive touchdown like he did against Dallas this season with that pick six? That was incredible. Could he get something like that? That's definitely the roadmap for his success. So I see the I see the roadmap for it for sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think we just about covered it with that guy.
Oh man, all the Josh Sweat fans are gonna be really mad at us.
Listen, he is good. He is good. We both love him as a football player. It's just going to be hard for him to win Super Bowl MVP, especially with all those guys.
Right, but there's a chance as well. He's on the list. He can't complain. Kyle, number 19.
Yeah, look, I guess I'll wrap up my last pick with this is definitely another risk.
Okay, good. Hey, it's the last pick. Might as well.
But look, what would be a better story than the 10-year man for the Philadelphia Eagles, the longest tenured player? I don't even have to look it up. I could say he's the longest tenured player because nobody plays 10 years on a team anymore. What is a better story than Fletcher Cox winning Super Bowl MVP? Because he's awesome. I could just see the story where he wins Super Bowl MVP, he has an amazing game, and then he just retires and goes into the sunset, right? Like that would just be a beautiful story. Fletcher Cox has been this defense for so many years. Even when this defense was bad, Fletcher Cox was amazing. And now this defense is fantastic, and he's still a pretty darn good football player. So that would be the best story.
The best story. Be very fun if this happens. It's not like he's. I mean, he's still, solid. Kyle, he's had 7 sacks this year. So he has not had a game where he's racked up 2 sacks in a game this year. You think maybe his good run defense will be what wins him Super Bowl MVP?
No. He would have to have the game of the season for him, right? Like it would look like a 2018 Fletcher Cox game or 2017 Fletcher Cox game that he's put together that put them in this spot. But in a one game winner take all, what if he's amazing for one more game? Just for old time's sake.
Hey, and again, talk about name brand recognition. He would easily win it if they could give it to him. If there's a way they could give Fletcher Cox the award, they would give Fletcher Cox the award.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be really fun just because, like I said, I mean, he's been with this team for so long. He's gone through all the ups and downs. It would be great.
Yeah, it's be cool. But I'm sure he would just take a second Super Bowl, ring. Period.
Yeah, could you imagine if you had like a 3-sack day with like a forced fumble in this one? That'd be so funny.
That'd be incredible. Kyle, if you call this, if Fletcher Cox ends up winning Super Bowl MVP, might be your best take of all time.
That would be amazing if I got him with pick 19.
I guess maybe the better one would be Kadarius Toney. That might be the better take.
Kadarius Toney somehow plays in this game and just goes crazy.
Yeah. I'm looking at it. I believe Jason Kelce has he's been playing since 2011, so I believe he's got Fletcher Cox beat by a little bit.
Oh, has he? Oh man. Well, he can't win Super Bowl MVP. He's a center, but
yeah. Well, when you said that for a second, I was like 10-year vet. Like, is he going Jason Kelce here? No, Fletcher Cox makes more sense. But yeah, it should be interesting. Kyle, you said what's a better story? I think I got one because we always talk about this being a quarterback award. Quarterbacks always win. Well, one quarterback has some injury issues here. We've seen Chad Henne step up when he's had to and perform well. Mahomes goes down early with an injury. One of these great pass rushers hits Mahomes. Once again, Mahomes, quarterback playing the Eagles goes down. Everyone thinks, due for a bad Super Bowl. Eagles are going to win. So lucky. Anything is possible. Chad Henne comes through, is able to lead the Chiefs to a victory, wins Super Bowl MVP, pulls a Nick Foles against the team that had the Nick Foles thing happen. And wins a Super Bowl. And then, talk about Mahomes haters being out in full force.
Oh my God, they go crazy. If Chad Henne wins this game, how close does he become to the greatest Michigan quarterback in NFL history?
Ooh, I think he'd be number 1.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think so. Who else could you even say?
I don't know at this point. Yeah. Who is that Tom Brady guy?
Brady's good, but he's not Chad Henne.
Honestly.
Brady. I guess Brady did beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he did. So.
Yeah, Brady only beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl once, which I guess Chad Henne would do. But Chad Henne never lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. There we go, found it.
Boom, perfect.
We had to take somewhere.
Yeah, that would be a that would be a really crazy story. Could you imagine?
I honestly can't think of anything quite. That would be the best story of all time.
Chad Henne. Did they have a quarterback controversy in the offseason if Chad Henne wins Super Bowl MVP?
What do you think? Realistically, though, what do you think? I'm not sure if he's under contract or not, but what if he's not? What draft pick do you think the Colts would trade for him?
Oh man, they would definitely give.
If he wins Super Bowl MVP.
Like a conditional fifth that turns into a fourth rounder.
I think they give like a conditional like second that turns into a first.
Yeah, this is our guy. Jim Irsay's ready.
Yeah, he would be a free agent. I think he would. I legitimately think he would get 10 million if he wins Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. How many of the guys do you think we named on this list that Urban Meyer knows?
I don't know. I don't. What do you mean?
Because there's that story that he didn't know some of the he like didn't know Aaron Donald.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't know. He doesn't know Nick Bolton.
Who is this Josh Sweat guy? I don't know about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that would be good. A couple other names I threw. I have three more names: T.J. Edwards, James Bradbury, Darius Slay. All guys I thought could see it. Like T.J. Edwards again, could he rack up a lot of tackles, or really could he potentially win for Andre Iguodala it and being the guy who slows down Travis Kelce? I don't know. Probably not, but he was on my list.
Yeah, I had Slay and Bradbury on my list. I was also kind of looking at, what if there's a massive Frank Clark game? He gets sacks. He's a
Yeah,
sack
I thought
guy.
about him. Mm-hmm.
I had Kenneth Gainwell as an honorable mention, similar to basically the same thing as the McKinnon thing, and he just had a 100-yard game a couple weeks ago. So, um, there is there's something there too. And the kickers. I just threw the
Mm-hmm.
kickers in for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see it. It'd be so hard though. What about Tommy Townsend?
I don't see a punter. No, got to be a kicker.
One of these. What if? Okay. How about this? What if? Okay, there's like 3 fake punts and they convert all of them due to Tommy Townsend' great throwing ability.
Throw them all for touchdowns. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Then that's the case.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, it should be an interesting Super Bowl. Again, this is kind of more of a funny, silly show. Next week, or not next week, but on Wednesday, we will have same time, mostly a few minutes earlier, but still 9 o'clock next week. We will be live once again. I said next week again, Kyle. What am I doing? 9 o'clock Wednesday, we will be previewing the Super Bowl, and then at midnight after the Super Bowl and this is Eastern time, we will be live talking about who has won the Super Bowl and whether or not Chad Henne deserved his MVP that he got.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll be doing all that. We'll be breaking that down. So that means, guess what? You're going to get a full hour preview of one football game on Wednesday night, and you're going to get a full hour recap Sunday night after the game. So you better be ready for that. It's going to be exciting. It's our best shows. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's always, and again, we can make it 2 hours if we wanted to. We have plenty of stuff to talk about.
Maybe on Wednesday. I don't know about Sunday. I'm pretty tired by the time we get through 1 hour.
Yeah, I guess so. That's probably fair. A late show. I could talk all day about this.
Well, you stay up basically the whole night after the Super Bowl. Not to pull the curtain back on your process, but
right,
you're basically up for 15 straight hours, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it's tough because basically, usually what I had always done was I would just sleep, basically change my sleep schedule. So I was sleeping in until like 4 in the afternoon, and then I would wake up on Super Bowl Sunday and just watch the Super Bowl, and then I could work basically, for forever. But recently, they moved the Super Bowl back. My girlfriend's birthday is the 13th. So, which is the day after the Super Bowl. Last year, it was on the Super Bowl. So now I have to finagle. I can't just be like, oh, sorry, I'm going to, just be talking about, why the cover 2 zone works so effectively. Like, I have to be a good boyfriend here too, Kyle.
Yeah. Tough sledding to be, content guy. That's for sure. So you, I don't know. What's going to be your secret? Is it Red Bull, Coke? I mean, what are you doing here?
Which Coke are you talking about, Kyle?
Yeah. You can pick, man.
Okay. Maybe some Red Bull. I feel like what I do with Red Bull is I don't drink Red Bull very often, so that way when I do drink Red Bull, like works. Because I feel like if you do something too frequently, because I don't drink coffee, so I will drink soda. But it's like if you do something too frequently, then I feel like it loses its effect.
You're not a coffee guy?
I'm not a coffee guy. I don't
There's
know
still
why.
not coffee people out there?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's a bit childish, right? Kind of a childish thing to not be a coffee guy.
I mean, as long as it's not like hot cocoa, like as
Oh,
long as
I cannot. I don't like warm drinks. That's my thing. I just don't like anything warm. I just don't like it.
That's fine then. Yeah, I mean, if you just
I have this weird thing where
I
basically chug. Yeah, I had this thing where I basically just like chug. Like if I have water, I just like chug it like all the time. I don't like sip it. I think
Yeah.
I ran cross country in high school. Maybe that's why I just I don't know how to just slowly sip something.
Yeah, I guess, I just commend anyone who's gone 20 years of life without a caffeine addiction. It's
Oh,
a,
I have a caffeine addiction. It's just with soda, which is terrible for me, and I'm probably gonna die from it.
oh yeah, just switch to coffee then.
Yeah, no, I should. It would be.
Get,
I'd be way healthier.
yeah, get iced coffee.
Yeah.
It's fine. It does the job.
Yeah, I guess. Watch it. This is again. Nobody cares. The fact that there's 59 people watching this live at this point. God bless all of you.
Like, what the hell is going on?
But I was just gonna say, there's these. I drink a decent amount of. I haven't done this recently. I need to get back to it. But there's these seltzers that are caffeinated. It's just it's like bubbly bounce is what it's called. It's just one of those LaCroix things. It's just but it has caffeine in it, so it wakes me up and hydrates me, and it makes me feel old all in once.
Yeah, I haven't gone to that yet. That's for sure. But if it works for you, it works for you. I can't fault it.
Yeah, we have someone saying soda is poison. Listen, I'm not saying soda is good for you. All right, it's just delicious.
Yeah. Coffee is just it's the lifeblood that fuels this amazing country, honestly.
You're right. That statement was sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts, I think.
Honestly, you could just, inject Dunkin' into my bloodstream and I'll be okay. So
sure. Yeah.
one of these days they're gonna have a Dunkin' Donuts IV bag and I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, cut out the middleman?
Yeah, just put the caffeine straight into me. I don't care.
When do you think we'll get to the point where we just don't even have food in general and it's just all IV bags? No food, no water, just all IV.
Probably when everyone's a diabetic. So what, like 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. 10 years.
Yeah.
We got that to look forward to. When we're on our 13th season, when you still have yet to win a pick'em show,
Oh my
that
gosh. Here we go again.
you're really hoping I missed this one, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick it in your face, but I mean, it's a we live in the land of fast food joints. We live in the land of the Whopper, triple double bacon Whopper.
Mhm.
We all eat a lot. It's okay.
Speaking of TikTok, again, we're so off the rails here. This is incredible. We've gained viewership. We're up to 64 now. 5 people have joined since we're doing this. There's these TikToks where they do remixes of the Whopper song, and it's my girlfriend shows me them every time she sees them, and that makes me want to join TikTok. That every time gets me to laugh.
That thing, yeah. When I see the what is it? They have this. I don't know. I don't even know the advertisements anymore. I just know it's Burger King, and they end the thing with the whole "you rule." But it's like they're advertising this burger that's with an Italian sandwich on it. Like, what the hell is that? It's like a chicken parmesan burger. I think that's what they're advertising. That sounds hideous. Why are people buying this?
Well, why does anyone intentionally go to Burger King?
I kind of like Burger King.
Are you okay? like mentally?
Yeah. I like the Whopper more than any of the other fast food stuff.
That's insane. This is Kyle. I don't know if we can podcast anymore. This is your worst take.
I don't know. If you're gonna have me rank fast food burgers, it's probably the double from In-N-Out. Then I'm probably going Baconator from Wendy's. And then after that, the Whopper, the Whataburger burger. I mean, those are probably the next two on my list.
I don't know. I think whatever it is, Burger King is at the bottom.
That's harsh.
It's harsh, but it's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll stay on Burger King Island myself, eating my Whopper, triple double bacon Whopper. You rule.
Yeah. So Culver's in the chat. Greater than Culver's is the best. Culver's number 1. Thank you to everybody for watching all of. If you made it this far, God bless you. We appreciate you. Kyle, let them know where we can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Yeah, I don't know why people are still here. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin. And make sure to follow the account page. That's at On The Sideline JK. That is at On The Sideline JK.
Yes, of course. If you like audio only podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast, the audio only feed is available. So definitely check that out. We are a week away from Super Bowl Sunday. A week from now, we might know who at this time at 10:17 Eastern time. Maybe we'll know who has won the Super Bowl by that point. It'll be close. We'll probably at least have an idea. So should be interesting. Kyle, any final thoughts before we head out?
Looking forward to the Super Bowl. Didn't watch any of the Pro Bowl games.
Yeah,
Looking
I was gonna watch it. I'm not into it.
Yeah, couldn't do it. Looking forward to Rihanna. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah,
let's make it happen.
Yeah, I won't watch the halftime show. I'll be working.
Yeah, well, record Rihanna. Rihanna's worth it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't record. What am I? Use my VHS. I'll just watch the watch. They'll put it on YouTube after.
I guess. Yeah, that's true.
Record. I mean, what are we doing here, Kyle?
I still have the ability to record stuff on my TV. That's how I do things.
Okay, but fair enough, Kyle. Don't need to sorry. That is our show. Again, thank you to everybody. 7 days away.
7 days. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it
everybody
happen.
Work hard this week. Big week ahead of us. Make sure to read Beowulf by Wednesday.
Beowulf.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, that'll be the subtle way that we can know that you are exactly a fan is if you give us like a very intricate detail of Beowulf that only someone who has read it would know.
Yeah, and I've read it, so I'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay, and I'll pretend I've read it too.
Yeah, you should read it. Good story.
Okay, well maybe I will. Probably not this week, but maybe at some point. Thank you to everybody. We do appreciate it. Until next time, see you later, alligator.
Peace.
Dude giving us homework would be okay. All right, show her.